If you're a leader and you've got a high potential who consistently delivers on results, but may do it in such a way where they ruffle feathers or leave themselves invisible in key situations, taking a coaching methodology is a great way to help them drive behavior change. The very first step in this coaching methodology is to be super clear on the feedback you've received and the change you want to see them make. For the 4 other steps to help drive behavior change through a coaching methodology as a leader, tune into The Happy Leader. Welcome to The Happy Leader. I'm Amy Sanchez, executive coach to some of the most innovative leaders and teams in Silicon Valley. I'll share stories and tips to help you navigate the most common leadership challenges so you can amplify what matters most: happiness. Let's say you have a high performer on your team. This person consistently and reliably delivers projects when they're due. This is somebody who takes initiative and there's little intervention needed from you. However, the way in which this employee drives projects forward is problematic. They can be rough at times. In fact, you may have had people complaining to you about how they ruffle feathers and can say or do things without regard for the feelings of others. They may be seen as a bull in a china shop. On the other hand, let's say you have an employee who has really good instincts and valuable knowledge, yet they're often silent in key meetings when you need them to speak up. You've asked them to be more proactive and offer their input in the past, but so far, your requests have gone unheeded. Both of these are the most common examples I've come across in my 7 years as an executive coach in Silicon Valley as to why taking a coaching approach as a leader could be a really good solution to help both these high performers bridge the gap that you're seeing in a key behavior. The best time to leverage a coaching approach as a leader is when you have a high potential who has the technical capabilities and can dependably complete high-quality tasks. But the way that they show up for others when they complete those tasks needs improvement. In short, they know what to do, but they need to improve the how. When you're a leader trying to drive a behavior change for a high potential, here are 5 steps that you can take to guide them in the right direction through a coaching approach. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sum up the 5 steps, and then I'll share with you exactly what each step entails so that you can try this with those performers on your team who might have driven you to this episode. The first thing that you want to do is be really clear and specific about the change you want to see. The second thing that you'll want to do is anchor the change to something motivational to the receiver. The third thing that you'll want to do is check in for resistance or buy-in to the suggestion that you're making about the change. Number 4, brainstorm new ways to behave. And finally, the last step of this sequence is to establish accountability and be supportive. Let's break it down step by step. So the first thing that you'll want to do with your high potential who needs to drive a behavior change is be really clear and specific about the change you need them to make. Make sure that you've clearly communicated their strengths as well as their gaps. Awareness is a really critical first step anytime that we're asking people to drive change. Even when we're trying to drive change in ourselves, we can't change if we don't know what's wrong. Starting with your direct report's strengths is important because it's going to really help paint an accurate picture of your impression of their performance. They're doing many things right. It's just this one area that needs improvement. This also helps them gain confidence in what's working. Then it's time to highlight the gap. This could sound like this. Hercules, your ability to drive projects across the finish line in a timely manner is top-notch. I know I can depend on you to get things done. I'd like to see you leverage this drive and to focus on how you can complete projects while still maintaining the trust and respect of those you're working with. For example, when you were driving the Delta project, I had 3 stakeholders come to me and tell me that you disregarded their opinions by continuing to interrupt them in meetings and establish next steps without considering their perspective. As a result, these stakeholders are reluctant to want to work with you again, Hercules. Now, as I end that role play, notice how important it was to incorporate recent examples and to really narrow in on the specific behavior change that you want to see. If you find that identifying the specific behavior change is difficult, you may need to dig a little deeper through stakeholder interviews or a more formalized 360 feedback assessment, so you're very clear on what you're asking them to think about and change. Second, after you've highlighted the behavior change you want to see, help them to understand why it's important to make this change and anchor it to something that you know is going to motivate them. For example, this could sound something like this. Hercules, I know you're looking for a promotion, and I'd like to advocate for you to receive one. You've done really, really great work in driving projects across the finish line. In order to confidently advocate for your promotion, I'd like to see you change the way in which you drive projects forward by finding a different way to disagree with others that doesn't involve interrupting them and ignoring their perspective. This is also important because as you continue to climb the ladder, you're going to increasingly be in bigger meetings with more stakeholders, and you can't railroad through their demands because you will start to lose their trust and you will start to lose your leverage with influencing them. I have confidence that you can find a new way to disagree with people that doesn't leave people feeling unheard and disrespected. Number 3, after you've provided specific feedback about what behavior change you'd like to see and why it matters, it's time to check in with them to gauge how this is all landing. With this, you're really trying to gauge their resistance to your suggestion to create this behavior change or their buy-in. This could sound something like this. Hercules, how important do you think it is to find a new way to disagree with others when you're trying to advance the agenda? The reason for this question is that now you're confirming how bought in they are to the change. When they verbally confirm that they agree with your suggestions and the feedback that you've shared, now you both know where future focus and attention should be spent, and you can help them focus their efforts on creating the change that you've both agreed is the right one. This is when you can transition to step number 4. Once you have confirmation or a discussion about the reluctance or confusion about the change, it's time to help them brainstorm a new way to behave. They've been using this old behavior for probably quite some time, so they're going to need some help thinking about a different way to go about something that comes very naturally to them. This could sound like this. Since you and I both agree that disagreeing in a more productive way would be a good idea, let's brainstorm some ways you can disagree without shutting people down or interrupting them. What are some ideas that you have, Hercules? Let them lead this discussion. If they come up blank, you can offer some ideas to help, things that you've seen worked in the past, ways that you've seen other people handle this that could be beneficial to them. Or if you have time during this discussion, keep asking open-ended questions to help them come across some solutions on their own. At the end of this step, you want them to have a specific action plan that they've committed to that involves trying a new, more productive approach. The final step, the 5th step of this sequence, is to introduce accountability and support. What specifically are they going to do to try this new approach and to keep you in the loop on their efforts? Ask them for their ideas. This is always a best practice because if they come up with next steps here, that increases their buy-in. If they come up empty-handed on how to keep you in the loop, you could ask them to take notes after situations where they've tried a new approach and how it went for them. Or ask for a weekly email to report on progress around this one behavior change. Make sure it's not buried in a number of other topics. It's important enough that it deserves its own conversation and its own email. Get really clear around next steps with your direct report and be sure to establish when you'll be verbally checking on their progress. This could be a future meeting that you both decide to schedule together at an established future date. Or it could be that you agree that you're going to check in on their progress during your regularly scheduled one-on-ones. establishing a time when you're going to follow up with them to see how it went really introduces the accountability, and it keeps the request alive so that they know this isn't something that can fall to the wayside. It's important enough that there's going to be future conversations centered around this. So those are your 5 steps to take to help coach your high potential to an important behavior change that you need to see. Now, here's something else to lean into and to consider. Don't expect a behavior change overnight. That's just setting your direct report up for failure. The path to change is rarely linear. In fact, it's okay for them to stumble. They're going to be trying on a new behavior that they've never tried before. And anytime we try something new, it's normal to make mistakes. It's likely that you're going to see them make some progress and then revert to the old behavior, but over time and with positive reinforcement from you, they can absolutely make this behavior change if this is something that they believe in as well. The key for you as the leader is to keep this conversation fresh and keep it alive so that they don't take the easy route and fall back into safe, easy old habits. It's emphasizing the need for them to change in order to get where they want to go and where you need them to go to continue to advance in their career. Just remember that change is incredibly hard for humans. All of us struggle with it. We're creatures of habit. But with the right motivation, with the right action plan, the right encouragement, and the right accountability, change is absolutely possible for all of us. If any of these steps sound difficult for you or for your direct report, reach out to me to explore how executive coaching might support their efforts. And if you liked this episode, do me a favor and subscribe or leave a positive review so other people like you who are looking for this support can find it. In the meantime, I'm Amy Sanchez, executive coach. Stay happy out there. Thanks for listening to The Happy Leader. If you would like more information about me, Amy Sanchez, and our executive coaching and team leadership services at Swim Against the Current, visit swim-against.com. And if you liked this podcast, help others who could use the support find it by giving us a rating. Until next time, life is short. Stay happy.